Hey everyone, Bob's here, your host for today, and thanks for tuning back into our podcast. And this is Gumma Channel. In the next 20 minutes, I will bust and response every entrepreneur myth in this very cruel world. Which one works and which other doesn't? Myths. They're everywhere. In business, misleading myths can hold back your success by either discouraging yourself or causing you to think things will be easier than they truly are. As a small business owner, there's so many obstacles coming up to face you, so don't let these myths get in your way.
Welcome to Gemma Consult, your friends in entrepreneurship. You'll get exclusive insider tips and tricks from entrepreneurs who have walked the path before you. Whether you're just starting your journey or have already launched and are looking to grow, join our community of inspiring game changers who are ready to make their mark on the world.
Ask any entrepreneur, successful or not, what it was like becoming an entrepreneur. You'll get a variety of answers. For some, it started naturally. For others, it was irresistible. For many, it was by necessity. Almost every single entrepreneur will also admit it was hard. There's nothing easy about starting your own business. While every job has its own challenges, annoying colleagues, or grumpy bosses, mind-numbing work, the role of an entrepreneur is particularly challenging. It's surprisingly scary, deeply personal, and overwhelmingly challenging in every area. But are there shortcuts? Yes and no. Shortcuts makes things faster, at least by nature, but they don't make things easier. You may look at these shortcuts and think, no way, this is too hard. And that's okay. The barrier to enter the entrepreneurship is the absolute struggle. If you're not willing to embrace the pain, you'll never meet the gain. So, let's bust the shortcut myths. Shortcut number 1, quit your job. 100% true, yes, just quit. We usually don't encourage people to do something very foolish like pulling the plug on a great job. But in the last episode, we already talked about commitment. So starting a business is a huge commitment where entrepreneurs repeatedly fail to appreciate the significant amount of time, the resources, and the energy needed to start right and grow a business. Having 2 jobs won't make it easy for you to perform well in your office and in your own business. Plus, we're talking about what's ethical. Entrepreneurship isn't about taking a big risk. It's about taking thousands of small risks. Your first risk could be to quit your job. You might discover shocking facts. The risk accelerates you to do explosive things. Suddenly you're there. No job, no security, no safety net, no retirement plan. You're in charge of your destiny. And you have all the time in the world to bring your passion to fruition. So if you have a plan in place, as long as it's not the shaky one, maybe it is time to walk into your boss's office with a resignation letter and a smile. Make it respectful instead of leaving in an inappropriate way. This is what you call credibility. Later on, as your own boss, it doesn't mean you'll have more free time. If you're starting your own small business, be prepared to live and breathe it. Just because you're your own boss, it doesn't mean you can make your own less hours. Shortcut number 2. Granting share ownership with a handshake is okay. It's a myth. You're probably either a sole founder or part of a small team of co-founders. As your business is quickly growing, you want to properly stimulate your team. New hires, advisors, consultants, by giving them all a small share of the pie with an issuance or grant of ownership. Given the very fast pace of business, remembering share issuances and grants by a handshake and a promise to follow up with the paperwork later would be a total disaster. What we would recommend is to document all share issuances. Did you agree on 3% with a lapsing repurchase right? Was the recipient going to pay with a promissory note? Did you get the board and the shareholder to make good on the handshake with approval? Is the issuance exempt from securities regulations? All of these potential concerns can be solved by consulting with your legal counsel in an effort to put the proper documentation in place. When legal requirements for share issuance are met, you get the benefit. It gives both you and the recipient clarity on your handshake and what it was about, and it gives you a commitment to deliver what was promised. Otherwise, ambiguity and uncertainty will be developed from time to time. And later on, this also can potentially lead to a lawsuit over the terms of the share grant and even an invalid issuance. A potential investor or buyer will not like any such ambiguities or uncertainty outstanding for a resolution. They will not close the deal if they cease to exist. They don't expect opportunity in both having and causing problems, like claiming a bigger stake. Take care of the paperwork now, or lose a chance of business expansion. Shortcut number 3, find a mentor. Indisputably true. Even though the entrepreneur gets a lot of the credit, most entrepreneurial pursuits aren't solo projects. We owe our success to the mentors we've had in our life, smart, encouraging people who believed in us. The same old story. Potential entrepreneurs don't have mentors, either because they don't realize they need them or simply because they don't know where to find one. If you have entrepreneurial passions but haven't made a significant progress toward your goal, try to find a mentor. Learn, and things might change for you. Shortcut number 4. Do the incorporation when you already find the investors. Well, this one is a myth for sure. If your business is caught operating without the required company registration and license, it can cause everyone to doubt your ability to do business in a competent or ethical manner. Future employees, potential investors, and customers can be affected. They may come to the conclusion that your business doesn't go as the customer directives since it failed to follow the necessary actions to operate legally. This will precisely lower down your startup valuation. So what we recommend in this situation is to start the incorporation and all the license needed ASAP. Now, this approach has tax implications that you probably won't like, since the government will tax your founder's shares immediately at the valuation you give investors. If you incorporate much earlier and file the proper forms with the tax office at that time, there will be no taxes until much later when shares are sold. Shortcut number 5. Interested investors are the cash cow anyway, so we should believe in them. It's a myth. You may be getting desperate for a cash injection, and let's assume that money is always green. Some might be unable to remember the fact that every investor is as different as every employee. Fraud is always a potential concern. Finding partners who support you rather than seek to control you could be your real issue. Here, what we recommend is to do a background check on who your potential investors are. Now, a background check is a two-way process. For sure, investors always go through as much as possible about the team running the enterprise. And as investors look into the performance record of a company they are planning to invest in, the entrepreneur expecting investment should also learn everything about the people planning to chip into the business. So take a look at their scores on reputation, competence, honesty, enthusiasm, open-mindedness, teamwork, appreciation for challenges, problem-solving skills, even their sense of humor. Shortcut number 6. Sell whatever you're good at. Now, this one is true. Entrepreneurs don't just create stuff. They sell stuff. They sell themselves. They sell ideas. They sell products. They sell a dream. They sell their vision. One easy way to jumpstart your selling skills is to sell whatever skill you have. Right away, you're thinking, what skill do I have? Well, everyone has something they're good at. You might not be the best, but you know something and can do something with some level of skill, right? Pick one thing and start selling it. Sell your knowledge through an ebook. Sell your skills by creating an online course. Sell your talent by making art. Just start selling. Small steps can eventually produce an up-and-coming business. Shortcut number 7. The more money I have, the more successful my business will be. This one is a myth. Business is about scoring profit, and it's not to focus only on the revenue. So what we recommend is to make it efficient. You need to spend money to make money. Still, too much money can also be a problem. As a business owner, throwing money at a problem is wasteful and inefficient. Hard work, root cause analysis, and problem solving is what will really make you nail your business value to the core. Shortcut number 8. Connect with other entrepreneurs. Could it be any more true? Jim Rohn once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Now, this bit of insight will catalyze the routine. How and with whom you spend your time. If you hang out with positive, encouraging, driven entrepreneurs, you'll become more positive, more encouraged, and more driven. Think about it. If you're surrounded by entrepreneurs, you'll probably catch the bug. You may begin small, but eventually you'll realize that you have the hunger and ability to do the business right. The other myth is that competitors are unfriendly. Now, this is a joke. The truth is, sure, of course they're competitors, but they can also be a very valuable resource. So build relationships with competitors is the very first step you can take to make a partnership program. Even if you don't ever partner together, at the very least, you can get advice and better your business. Shortcut number 9. Discussion between friends is a firm one, so no agreement needed. Well, this one is another myth. Even though verbal agreements are just as enforceable as a written agreement, most likely many details will be missed without proper documentation. So for a recommendation, I'm not telling you that formal legal papers are at all times required, but agreements without some paper or an email trail are easily forgotten or misinterpreted, especially later on down the track. A co-founder who loses interest and backs out early will likely be back to claim his half after you reach a good profit. Shortcut number 10. The board decided, move on. It's a myth. In your business's early stages, the board is small, and most members of the team have a formal role. It is tempting to get the board's consent on sets of actions and then just do it, leaving debates and leaving the approval undocumented. If the business's board meets in person, decisions frequently come up swiftly through quick meetings, leaving no record other than calendar invitations. So what we recommend is to record shareholder and board meetings. What was decided? And who decided it? What was discussed or deliberated? By keeping an accurate record of board and shareholder meetings, it will always do the work to avoid any uncertainty or ambiguity in the future. Appoint a secretary to transcribe the meetings or session records and convert it to minutes shortly thereafter. It's never been a bad idea. Also, it's important to keep in mind that any announcement needs a quorum requirements in your business's establishment documents. Risk would be too high that your board or shareholder actions may be invalid if these requirements are not in place. Shortcut number 11. People is the one who should remember me as the founder. Who was James anyway? It's a myth. Remember that small team you started the business with so long ago? Wasn't James the treasurer and CFO? When did he leave again? Was it mid-June? He's gone, so it doesn't matter for you, and everyone moves on. What we recommend is to observe your changes of team, whether they're officers or directors. The comings and goings of officers and directors must have been overwhelming. So stand up straight and continue the operation with proper documentation for the changes, including resignation letters and board or shareholder consents. Providing a proper trail of who established the board and officers of your business can show a potential investor or buyer during a due diligence process that you take the time to maintain accurate business records. Also, this will help to mitigate the risk of inappropriate board actions. You should also consult with your HR specialist regarding whether you should seek releases from such departing individuals. Shortcut number 12. Spend 90 minutes a day on your business idea. This one's true. Well, according to the science of energy management, we do our best work in 90-minute cycles. This natural biorhythm allows us to be incredibly productive in short bursts, and you'll go places. Productivity gurus out there even suggest 90-minute plans for personal effectiveness. So, what can you accomplish in 90 minutes? Such things as planning your website. You could write a blog post, create a Facebook page, start a Twitter account, write a sales letter, or develop a business plan. If you're going to start your own business, you have to include that to your daily clocks. Carve out that time each day, 90 minutes, and you'll be well on your way to launching a successful business. Shortcut number 13. Just take out this section from the contract. It's a myth. You want to engage a new supplier for your business. You have the business terms nailed down, and you're ready to sign an agreement and get down to business. So, you take a form contract that your business used in the past and only change the names and sign it. Well, what we recommend here is to consult with your attorney regarding significant changes to contracts. What may seem like an insignificant change in an effort to save on legal fees could have significant surprising consequences. So if you're not sure, make sure to ask your attorney. They will analyze and present the risks of your decisions concisely to help you make the best decision for the business. Having inaccurate clauses may risk losing suitable protections. Shortcut number 14. Grow your personal brand. This one's true. As an entrepreneur, one of your most valuable assets is your personal brand. Your personal brand gives you a stage, credibility, an audience, and even a customer journey. You can build your brand right now. Growing followers on social media profiles, especially professional networks such as LinkedIn, will give you a personal brand boost and jumpstart your entrepreneurial career. Shortcut number 15. Valuations not worth the cost. It's a myth. While your business is still developing, you may feel like it has nothing more than a name and sense-based small dollar business value. In major cases, tracking the business value isn't a priority. So what we recommend here is to hire an independent valuation firm. For a large variety of reasons, your business and its stock is probably worth more than nothing, and such value is visible, at least to a degree. So why is this important? Taxes. If your asset gained its value, especially for property, it can have tax consequences. Legal counsel and your accountant can guide you through the proper valuation process. Shortcut number 16. Purchase the education. This one is true. Some people never develop into entrepreneurs because they don't take the time to invest in themselves. There are entrepreneurship things you don't know about, and surprisingly, it's a lot. We're learning new things every day, even after more than a decade of successful entrepreneurial achievements. So invest in yourself to gain knowledge and to progress. How? Well, there's a wide range of options that are available to you. You could purchase an entrepreneurship course. You could get business coaching services, or do an online how-to course. A small investment in your success is a huge way to accelerate your progress. Shortcut number 17. I know this, so I can do this. It's a myth. For years, we found many business owners try to do everything all alone. As a house flipper, they would take care of properties, arrange books, tile bathrooms, clean old refrigerators, install soundproofing systems, and do almost every other task that was needed in order to make a profit. They struggled a lot. When they started hiring out more and more tasks, they began making more and more money. Of course, you've heard that a million times. But knowing and doing are two different things, aren't they? Yes, hiring someone else is obvious, but being able to afford that someone is not so easy. After all, you're probably thinking, I can't afford to hire my first employee. I hardly make any money. Well, I was there too. We get it. But here's my simple answer to that one. We'll have a very special episode with tips just on this subject. In the meantime, what we recommend is start the hiring. An employee will change your business. What is your time worth? If I offered you $10 to stop what you're doing and sit in a dark room for an hour, would you do it? How about for $100? What about $1,000? Of course, that value is different for each person. But I'm going to shock you. Every single day, you're making 1 hour trade for just $10, sometimes for far less. Shortcut number 18. We don't need the employees to sign all of those forms. It's a myth. In the rush of those first days and months, as your business is bringing on its first advisors, consultants, and employees, they're handling multiple legal agreements to a new team member, and it may seem like overkill when you're not even sure your business will survive till next week. So you decide to wait and get some fresh air and deal with it down the line. What about those forms? Maybe you'll forget about it. So what we recommend is have all consultants, advisors, and team members sign confidentiality agreements. These form agreements, while seeming to be unnecessary at the early stage, they are crucial. This tiny piece of paper will be your confidentiality ace. Strategic partners and buyers often look to a business's intellectual property in making their decision to acquire or invest. And it's far easier to show that there's no question as to the company's ownership with forms of such agreements fulfilled by all consultants, advisors, and employees than having to provide comfort to an investor or buyer with protection. Your employment counsel or HR specialist can prepare a form agreement that will work for all employees to sign at the beginning of their employment. Shortcut number 19. We can prepare or update the cap table later. It's a myth. Wait, cap table? Relax. In simple language, it's just a list of your company's securities, like stock, shares, options, warrants, etc., and a record for who owns these securities. Similar to the previous shortcut, uncertainty surrounding share issuances can cause headaches at the most inopportune times. Each time you grant share, while you're heading away the paperwork, you move on to the next task, forgetting to update your share tracks table. So here, what we recommend is to keep track of the number of shares, options, and other share ownership incentives issued. Options and incentives are usually arranged by plans that limit the numbers. If you start to run against this limit, you run the risk of issuing blown-up share incentives and therefore potentially invalid. Fixing this issue down the line can also have tax consequences for shareholders, which can lead to disputes. Track the share issuances properly before it becomes an issue. Shortcut number 20. I can be the accountant. It's a myth. Too often, entrepreneurs maintain their own finance records without any assistance, and it ends up being a horror show, and it's awful. And it's no surprise that this leads to errors and, in fact, misrepresents the business. So what we definitely recommend is to hire an accountant. The heart of your business is making money. Maintaining updated financial statements is important for any transaction, and it's never been underrated. If so, why would an investor's first question to me be, show me the numbers? Potential investors and buyers need empirical data to check your business's financial health. Well-kept financial statements provide investors and buyers the comfort of what they're buying and what they think they're buying, so it won't be cloudy. Hiring an accounting firm to assist with preparing your business's financial statements and other accounting needs from the beginning has practical and legal benefits. But engaging Big Four accounting firms might not be necessary during the early stage. Smaller, local accounting firms are usually more cost-effective and produce a similar work product for companies at this earlier stage. Your attorney will usually have good contacts that they can recommend. Was it an interesting 20 minutes today? Well, let's sum it up. Billionaire Mark Cuban once shared the advice that his dad gave him. Do the work, outwork, outthink, outsell your expectations. There are no shortcuts. And we agree. There aren't any real shortcuts for becoming wildly successful. You have to put in the time, the work, the mental effort. You have to pay the cost. In that sense, there are no shortcuts. With your attention so focused on the challenges on getting your business up and running, it's tempting to lose sight of the long-term vision to bring the value of your business at every opportunity. Whether you wish to grow your business so it can be publicly listed, or you want to sell to an acquirer, or attract bigger and better investment bucks, the actions you take to solve today's issue can have a material effect on the value of your business in the future. We see it all the time. A client starts a business, does well, and is preparing to exit or finally take on an important investor, when suddenly issues start showing up in diligence. Decisions that the client made in the early days of the business suddenly become a burden to make the deal done. These "I don't want to do that" scenarios have caused deals to stall or fall apart. Also, unnecessary renegotiation frequently coming and breaking the economics worth of the transaction, or resulting additional liability entrepreneurs should carry, at least need to worry about. But there are ways to jumpstart your journey to success. As the Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The best piece of advice I can give you is to simply start right now. What can you do right now to launch your entrepreneurial journey? We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Gemma Consult. If you liked the show, make sure to subscribe right now so you're first to hear new episodes. With new motivation on how to take your entrepreneurial dreams to the next level. We're here to help each other grow to new heights. If you know an entrepreneur who would benefit from the support of our community, please share the show with them. Thanks for listening.